everyone, it's me, Morgan Stewart, and I have a new podcast called The Morgan Stewart Show. Join me each week as I talk about pop culture, fashion, my personal life, and just a warning, I'm going to be giving my opinion on everything. I'll also have some really fun guests to join in on the fun. The Morgan Stewart Show is out now. Listen and follow wherever you get your podcasts or watch full video on YouTube.
Party at your place this summer? Fix things up inside and out with July 4th deals, now at Lowe's. Get up to 45% off select major appliances and save up to an additional 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. Plus, save $80 on the select Charbroil Performance Series gas grill, now $299. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 7/8 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
To get the Crime Writers on Aftershow right now, go to patreon.com/Partners in Crime Media.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and this is Crime Writers On. Crime Writers On is the original true crime review podcast that digs into true crime, pop culture, other podcasts. And on this episode, when a mother and her newborn arrive at a hospital, doctors determined the woman was never pregnant. So, where did the baby come from? We'll talk about the Netflix documentary film, Maternal Instinct. Joining me to get that done and more is true crime author, TV journalist, and host of These Are Their Stories podcast, my husband and love of my life, the birthday boy. It's Kevin Flynn. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Rebecca.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
I love you.
I love you too. Are you going to give me a pinch to grow an inch?
No.
Remember your kids and they said, here's a pinch to grow an inch.
That was mean.
It was kind of mean.
Yeah.
It's kind of abusive.
Yeah. And also with us is private investigator, certified pet detective, resident cat lady, and author of The Final Curtain. It's Laura Bricker. Hello, Laura.
Hey, Rebecca.
And finally, our captain of all things cynical, author of the City Trilogy, host of Rip Current, More Like Ancient Aliens, Strange Arrivals, and our Patreon Deep Dive Book Club podcast, Toby Ball. Hola, Toby.
Hey, Rebecca. Happy birthday, Kevin.
Thank you.
Kevin, how old are you?
Not very old.
Oh, okay. What's coming up on Thursday's show?
So on Thursday, we're going to talk about the newest podcast from Leon Neyfakh on Audible Originals. It's called Only Fantasy. All one word.
Only fantasy. Well, yeah. Toby, right before we started taping the show, you said, and I quote, I did something wild last night. And I said, save it for the podcast. So, Toby, what was that wild thing you did?
So, in Valencia, there are like a hell of a lot of sort of celebrations for different things. And last night, I think, was the Feast of St. John, which I think might be spelled Joan, but... I don't know. This is all a little unclear to me what was going on. But we went down to, Valencia's got a big, urban beach. And so we went down there, and there are literally tens of thousands of people on the beach. So we went down there. It's at night. So we went down there around 9 o'clock. It's still fairly light out. And so the deal is that all these people go down to the beach. They set up bonfires, and the city, brings in truckloads full of wood, and then you just show up to this place. People had already done it before I got there, but you show up to this place and you stuff a bunch of wood into bags or a cart or whatever, and you take it to your spot on the beach and you use that for the bonfire. So we're there. There were so many people, and this is a huge beach. Tens of thousands of people. And the deal is that everybody kind of hangs out and does their thing. A lot of drinking, a lot of people cooking over open fires, a lot of tunes, people of all ages. And then at midnight, you're supposed to jump one of the bonfires. They're not huge bonfires. So it's not quite as impressive as it sounds. You're supposed to write something on a piece of paper that you want to get rid of from the previous year and throw it into the fire to get rid of it.
Like a witch.
And then you go, exactly. And then everybody goes into the Mediterranean and you have to jump over 7 waves as some kind of purification thing. So you literally, we went out and there's thousands and thousands of people it's just this mass of people just jumping over these little waves in the Mediterranean.
It does sound like sunset cocktails and widow's bag.
I would like to jump over a bonfire.
Not me.
I'll have to go to Valencia next June.
You should come to Valencia, although it is absolutely freaking so hot outside. Europe is burning. Paris, I think, was 108 yesterday.
Yes. Well, speaking of hot, should we talk about the documentary we're here to talk about?
Yeah.
Because it's hot. It's like number 1 on Netflix as we tape this, right?
Yeah, that pregnancy suit's got to be hot.
Hot.
It's number
All
2
right.
in Spain, baby.
Leading off.
I need life net out to my location. Lady in this vehicle who appeared to just have a baby. She was carrying the baby in her lap. Umbilical cord is still attached.
She's not breathing.
When a Texas trooper pulled her over, Taylor Parker said she was rushing to the hospital, doing CPR on the newborn baby she just gave birth to in her car. But when doctors examined her, they realized she'd never been pregnant.
She's in there. She refuses to have a vaginal check to make sure she's not hemorrhaging. They've done an ultrasound and HCG, and it doesn't show that she's been pregnant. Okay. They have the placenta.
Where's she?
She is in the room. She is no.
For months, Parker had told everyone she was carrying her boyfriend's baby, posing on social media with a pregnant belly. But friends knew she'd had a hysterectomy years before. Then, as her purported due date arrived miles away, police made a gruesome discovery.
As I get out of my car, I'm walking, and I see these little red streaks, and I thought, oh, well, the dog must have hurt its foot, and so that's what I was seeing. And I kind of opened the door, and I saw a bloody footprint.
The Netflix documentary Maternal Instinct recounts the 2020 story of Taylor Parker and how her efforts to fake a pregnancy resulted in a tragic conclusion. The film uses body-worn camera footage, digital evidence, and interviews with Parker's boyfriend and others to piece together her elaborate scheme and the lengths she went to resolve it. Spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about plot points from Maternal Instinct. So, if you want to remain spoiler-free, go to the estimated time code in our show notes for our thumbs up or thumbs down reviews. So, Laura, I did put a note in our team Slack as I was watching this, and I was like, I can't tell if this is good or if the story is just completely wild. What do you think? It's pretty wild, eh?
It's like watching a car crash that you can't turn away from. And at the same time that you had texted that in our chat, my friend Maggie texted me, and she said, Maternal Instinct is horrible and crazy. This was just like something that was so, I don't know if this was a good story. I don't know if I would describe it like that. However, it was so shocking and unbelievable that it was one of those things that you just keep watching, like rubbernecking on the highway. Like, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. Oh my God. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. That's a real baby. Oh, that's not. Yeah. And I'm like, of course it's Texas. It's usually Texas or Florida. And I'm like, I think this sort of fits within that Texas genre of crimes. You know, where's the Texas Monthly? Like, this feels like prime for that.
Kevin, the opening of the documentary is pretty dramatic. It does use that body-worn camera footage. We see the police approaching Taylor in her car. She says she's rushing to the hospital because she's just given birth, as I said in the intro. What did you think about this opening? Compelling or not?
Yeah, I mean, I like the opening sequence. I didn't know anything about this crime. That all would have been spoiled for me if I knew everything about it, obviously. But I thought it was, the logical place to start the whole documentary right there. It drew me in. It raised a bunch of questions, and you kind of got an idea of, what the stakes were. And they continued this sort of, this sequence all the way through the examination in the hospital.
So, it surely doesn't look like a baby came out of there. It looks like she had a baby.
It doesn't?
No.
Okay.
Does not look like she had a baby, does it?
Now you're like, okay, well, how did we get here? And so I thought it was a good jumping off point as opposed to maybe going chronological. So that's, if you're writing the book, that's exactly where you would start with chapter 1.
Drop you in media res, as it's called, right? Media
res, yeah.
And you just and then you go back to spool it back to the beginning.
Yes.
Toby, I don't think you had the same reaction to the opening sequence of this documentary, did you?
Well, it just feels like we see a lot of these now. So as soon as it started that way, I was like, all right, it's going to be one of those documentaries. And it was. I feel like they figured out how to make smooth, easy to follow documentaries. And there's like a formula to it. And they kind of rise and fall on how compelling you find the story and, how compelling the talking heads are that they can get on camera. But the expectation was set, and that's not necessarily like a super high expectation, but it kind of, I was like, all right, I can kind of see how this one's going to feel when you watch it. It's just a matter of what the details are going to be.
Yeah. But Toby, you have to admit there are some real characters in this, like the people that we meet, people that we talk to. It's definitely, there's like a slice of life component to this that I wasn't expecting. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that it was bad. There's a variety of people they talk to, and some of whom are pretty colorful, some of whom are less so, but are sort of more intimately involved in the actual story. And then there's a whole bunch of people who, I'd say a whole bunch, probably like 4 or 5.
That's a bunch.
Yeah, okay. And who were close to Taylor at some point in her life and seem to be using this as a way of getting as far away from her as they possibly can in the public eye. So, you know, there was, and we can talk about Wade, her partner, later, but it did kind of feel like more than a lot of other of these documentaries that there was a, you know, you could kind of, I felt like I could kind of feel like what the objective was for some of the interviewees and what they were trying to get out of it. And it was basically like, I liked her when she was different. You know, she was really different. She was really, her smile lit up a room when I was around her, but then something changed and we weren't friends anymore.
So, Laura, after the scene in the car, you know, in the sequence that is real life, not in the documentary because it kind of rolls back after the scene in the car, we see Taylor goes to the hospital and the doctor is very casually like, yeah, she's never had a baby. She didn't have this baby. He was so casual. What did you think about how they sort of dealt with this at the hospital?
I loved that we saw that twice in this documentary. So we saw the first pass when we see her in the car and she's shaking and she's talking about how she just had a baby. And then you see the troopers and, you know, the police sitting down talking to her and the doctor goes in and out. But then later, when we've heard the backstory about her not being pregnant, you see additional information before you see the troopers go sit down and speak with her. So you know that when they talked to her, they already knew the backstory of her not being pregnant. And I think it was really interesting to see that particular scene play out twice with additional information the second time, not as much information the first time. So you're kind of like guessing, look, I wonder what's really going on here. I wonder what's happening. But the fact that in the beginning, you're like, she's never had a baby. You're like, okay, is this one of those crazy things where somebody cut a baby out of somebody? Unfortunately, we find out yes, but you're like, and then when she came out of the car too, you're like, there's no blood. Like, this doesn't add up. You're not seeing signs on her of somebody that literally just delivered a baby in a car to the extent that I would expect you would see.
Yeah, I expect when you open the door, like a pool of blood would fall out if you had a baby
or at
in
least
a car.
On her pajama pants or something.
Exactly. So, Kevin, before the baby delusion, there was this weird thing where this woman basically just pretended to be rich, kept getting loans and kept buying things with no way to pay for them. It's like the least pyramid scheme I've ever seen. It's like an upside down pyramid scheme.
Yeah, I mean, she passed herself off as somebody who's going to be coming into money and then sort of did things. I mean, we've seen this in kind of other scams where they basically, you know, kiting checks, but kiting like big sums of money. We're like, oh, we're buying this whole piece of property and here, I bought you a new car until it gets repossessed. And, you know, when that happens in real life, all these people are like, you know, that just didn't seem right. And then that's it.
It made me sick. It made me so sick to my stomach because I knew, that she can't be pregnant. She had a hysterectomy.
It's like, well, we didn't confront her about the fact that she bought a car and then for me and then it got repossessed. It was just sort of, hey, we're going to go along with it. There's sort of a lot of that.
That's how she's always been.
Where there were people, and again, I don't know because this was almost 6 years ago, whether or not they're shaving off the rough edges, but there was a lot of like, yeah, that didn't quite seem right. And then no follow up to the idea that maybe you could have done something more than send an anonymous note to Wade about her pregnancy when you know for a fact she had a hysterectomy.
Yeah. Toby, what do you think about this idea? Because she's the kinds of things that this woman did always had like a deadline on them. Like you can't buy a car and then just not pay for it and think no one's going to find out that you can't pay for it. And you certainly can't fake a pregnancy I mean, how many weeks did she go beyond the alleged due date? Like 6 weeks or something?
Yeah.
I know there's a pathology here that the documentary doesn't get into, but what do you think of this? Because I just keep thinking, like, what is the plan? Like, this is somebody who doesn't seem, I mean, she's smart enough to be able to maintain relationships and like be in the world. But you got to know on some level that you got to get out of this plan before it ends or just move to another state or something. And she doesn't do that.
Yeah. So this, I'm trying to think, I don't know if we watched or whether it was just stuff that we did on the deep dive, but there were a couple things on the deep dive where people were running, they weren't even like cons. It's like this one guy said that he was working a job and he didn't for like 15 years or something. And it's like, there's a point, there's like an end point to this. Like you cannot keep like for the rest of your life pretending you've got a job because you're not bringing in any money. And it seemed like the same thing for this. It's like, it's not a well-planned con. Like it's, they don't spend much time like trying to delve into her psychology beyond she would kind of see people in certain situations and want to have that certain situation herself. And that's like the biggest sort of bit of insight I think you get, and that I guess one of her friends had ended up, who wasn't supposed to be able to be pregnant again, gets pregnant with a girl, and Taylor decides she's going to be pregnant with a girl, even though she's had a hysterectomy. Yeah. So it was just it would have been a little bit interesting to have a little bit about like, is she just literally just one of those people who lives like moment to moment? And it's just like, I'm going to do something and the consequences are down the road. I'm just not going to deal with it until then, because she wasn't being conservative about it. She was like, I'm getting $8 million and I'm about to spend it all on trucks and a ranch. And I've got a baby and, all this stuff like all at once. And it's like, none of this is going to work. Like literally nothing is going to work in any of this. I mean, to me, that was sort of the sort of like most morbidly interesting part of it, I guess, was just like trying to like figure out like, what did she think is, what's the thought process behind this? And if there isn't a thought process behind this, like that in itself is kind of interesting, but they don't, I mean, it's just kind of it really is a sort of just the facts kind of thing, but it's the facts from certain people's viewpoints. Yeah. And then there's also like the sort of undisputable facts of the actual crime. But like those are the interesting questions to me. And it didn't seem to be something that the filmmakers were interested in the slightest.
What was that thing that we covered where that woman, she reminded me so much of that woman in California who in the church who was faking her cancer. And
Scamanda?
Yeah, Scamanda. And she used like her she'd go to pray, she'd be in the hospital and her husband would go to their appointments and like none of the doctors were asking her about her cancer or whatever. It's like, what did she think? How did she think she was possibly going to get away with this? But it reminded me of that because she never died. Right? She's like, she's going to die next week and she never died. So it's like an expiration date con, like never works.
There's no exit strategy from that one. Yeah. No, I mean, the one that this reminds me of is this horrible podcast, The Unborn. Oh, and I can't believe I'm ever bringing it up again in any sort of critical way. Well, the cover was horrible, yes. But the whole story was, I mean, the underlying crime here was interesting, but not in the way it was presented, but it also has to do with somebody faking a pregnancy. What was really interesting is she started having like those like the actual physical side. She didn't buy a rubber belly like this woman did, but there in both cases you've got somebody here who's like just deeply ill. And unfortunately the documentary doesn't even try to bring up somebody to talk about it, but there are a lot of parallels between those two cases. Her name was Christy in the Unborn, but I mean there was the whole thing like this. Both these cases happened during COVID. They had the advantage of like certain people not being allowed into the hospital,
right?
It's like,
I can only go to the doctor by myself, kind of thing, right?
Right. And whether or not that was accurate or not, you could say that, and somebody would believe it. But there was the whole thing, and they just kind of breezed over the fact that Wade's house got caught on fire and there was a bomb threat at the hospital. Well, the house got set on fire in the Unborn too, right? So
I didn't remember that.
Oh yeah. I mean, so they both were obsessed with social media and posting and whatever, and they needed to find an end game to their lives. You're right. I mean, this, it isn't talented Mr. Ripley. Like, you got to put up or show up at some point. And Christy was stalking maternity wards, right? And it was implied that she would steal a baby if she had the opportunity. But if she were in proximity to another pregnant mother, would Christy have turned violent? Would Taylor have snatched a baby from the maternity ward if she had access to that? I mean,
yes,
100%. She absolutely would have.
Or a car, someone left their baby unattended, or a stroller.
I mean, what is
the
she?
Park.
Yeah, I mean, she's buying. She's like, I'm in my 10th month of pregnancy. At some point she had to do something, and so that it's unfortunate that like the documentary had these things, but I don't know, for whatever reason it didn't go into, a real deep dive. But if you want a deep dive like Toby Ball's Deep Dive Book Club podcast, you got to join us on Patreon.
It's the business section. We're pregnant with business.
We are ready to deliver.
Yes.
We are fully dilated to get you exclusive content at Patreon. What?
Is there after content? After the content?
Oh my God, the after show is
The after show comes after the content. Just like what happens after the birth.
The content water is about to break.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to deliver the content.
Yes.
Afterwards. Yeah. Okay. Remember, this comes out at breakfast time. You can get the Crime Writers on After Show. On this after show, Rebecca's talking about her trip to Chicago with her mother. 83 took her there for a purpose, which was to just take her on a trip.
Yes.
To teach her a lesson. Toby Ball's Deep Dive. Yeah. And to teach her a lesson. I don't mean like, I'm going to teach you a lesson. Give me the belt.
I'm going to teach you a lesson. Like actually teach you something.
Yes, I'm going to teach you something that it's okay to go to places.
Right.
Toby Ball's Deep Dive Book Club podcast is discussing the other side of prospect with a great panel. Married with Podcast or Advice Podcast. Among the questions, someone wants to gently extract herself from a longtime friendship that has changed. You also get Something's Off, Rebecca and Mel's True Crime Podcast. Man, those civil trials for the House defendants, they keep heating up.
They're getting spicy. Proctor is getting spicy.
If you join us at the Bricker scale level, you'll also get Laura's Leave It to Bricker podcast. All Laura wants is for the front door to her condo to get fixed. But she can't do that without wading into a whole bunch of shady shit.
Scandal.
Well, I am going back in after this taping to my second condo board meeting, and I am ready. And I have a list of talking points, so follow along, because I have come up with an elaborate scheme to get an additional room in my house based on their most recent email to me. And they won't be able to do anything about it.
Get an additional room?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Just stay tuned. They told me I'm solely responsible for my sun porch. I just have to follow local building codes that I can do it. And I'm like, perfect. I can insulate it, take the wall out between there and my living room, and I can have a bonus room. I have a lovely living room.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, you'll get to see. That's going to be part 2 of an upcoming episode, I hope.
Yes. Oh, I'm going to follow this condo thing. I am following it to the bitter end.
Because the last Leave It to Bricker actually had a cliffhanger.
Yes.
When we found out there might be a mole. I'm just going to leave it at that. If you also support us at the Deep Diver level, you'll get to be there when Toby and his guests discuss the next book. Toby, on the next show, you have Maggie Freeling, Sarah Colleen, and Samantha Axtell Prisbilowitz. And the 4 of you are talking about what book?
We're talking about Murderland, which in the last couple of years, I think it's been the most talked about true crime book out there. And it is super weird. It's just a very strange book, but I think it'll be a good conversation. I'm really interested to hear what other people think about it, because
is that like the sequel to Candyland, Murderland?
It is a little bit, yeah. It's like the lollipop swamp and stuff. No, it's about how all these smelters that were around the country, but particularly in the Pacific Northwest, cause an increase in violence, and in the Pacific Northwest specifically, all these serial killers that came out of sort of the Spokane area.
Wow.
Interesting. You get all of those podcasts when you join us at Patreon. I'm just going to make a pitch for the value here. In June, we had 24 episodes on Patreon. So you are getting an awful lot for the money that you spend. It goes to a great cause. It supports this podcast. It keeps us on the air and keeps us going. So thank you to everybody who has joined us there and become patrons.
All right, Kevin, does thus end our business section?
Thus ends the business section.
What's up, sports fans? I'm Rachel Demita, here to tell you about my show, Courtside Club. If you love hoops and hot takes, then you're in the right place. Want to hear about Caitlin Clark's unstoppable rise in the WNBA, how stars like Wemby and Luka Doncic are dominating the NBA? Or maybe you just want the tea on this week's most viral sports moments. Don't worry, we'll keep you updated on all of it. So grab your popcorn and come hang with us. Courtside. You can listen to Courtside Club wherever you get your podcasts. Ooh and ah.
So, Kevin, who's the sponsor of this fine podcast?
Oh, we're sponsored by Quince.
Shut up.
Yeah, summer is the perfect time to rethink the clothes that you've been reaching for every day. You take all those clothes that you bought from Quince in the winter, all those nice sweaters, you put them to one side of the closet or in a different drawer, and you bring out all of last year's linens, get the new ones to add to it.
Yeah.
Rebecca, what have you recently purchased
Well,
from Quince?
you know I love a linen shirt.
Yes.
And I have a couple of Quince linen shirts, the European linen. I love the dark blue with the white stripes is my favorite one. I have a white one. I've got a pink one. I've got a solid blue one. They are the most versatile, cute shirts. I wear it over a bathing suit. I wear it out to dinner. We were on vacation. Remember, I wore a linen shirt every day.
Yes. And in fact, for that vacation, you purchased me 2 pairs of swimming trunks.
Yes.
Bathing suit, whatever you call it.
Yes.
And I'll say that, ladies, that if you purchase one for your man, be sure to
get the short one.
Get the short one.
It's
Tell
cute.
them you're not an 80s surfer.
No.
You don't need it down to your knees. Look great, look elevated, and save money. And by the way, Quince is not just about clothing. It's your destination for elevated essentials across the home, kitchen, bedding, and beyond.
Elevate your summer wardrobe. Go to quince.com/crime for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada, too.
Bonjour, hi.
That's QUINCE.com/crime for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/crime.
Okay, imagine this. A honeybee is out here doing her thing in an orchard, lands on a mystery apple blossom, then carries that pollen over to a Honeycrisp tree. Fast forward a few months, and no exaggeration, something amazing is born. The sugar bee apple, packed with notes of honey, caramel, and molasses, plus an extra crisp crunch. Sugar bee apples are perfect for snacking, baking, and everything in between. Download our new free recipe book and find a store near you at hellosugarbee.com. Sugar bee apples, naturally sweet, from bee to you.
Hi, it's Sierra Miller. I can't wait for you to check out my new collection of shoes and accessories at Designer Shoe Warehouse. If you love shoes as much as I do, then trust me, I got you. From cute sneakerinas to the perfect flip-flops to stunning heels, these shoes are all style, no drama. It's a girl's girl summer, and DSW has just the shoes. Shop the Sierra Miller collection right now at your DSW store or dsw.com.
Laura, I want to talk to you about a couple of the landmark moments during this pregnancy. One is the gender reveal party.
Yes, that was something.
As invisible smoke.
Yeah, with the gender reveal party coming around the side of their home with a little cow and her children from her last relationship and a little bow around the cow to reveal the sex of the baby. And I thought what was interesting was then hearing from the people that were there that were just kind of all like, nobody really knew what to do.
Right.
The day of the gender reveal was very awkward, but she seemed really excited. She kind of like started screaming and jumping up and like clapping, and it was kind of quiet.
Why didn't anybody speak up in a more direct fashion about this? Because this was ludicrous. This was ridiculous.
I have thoughts about that because I know somebody who is displaying a lot of signs of like mental health stuff. And I am not going to fucking say anything to anybody because it's like, it's a frightening Rubicon to cross because some people, when you confront them, you know, it's going to get a million times worse. Like you're going to make it, like they're going to make it worse. They're going to make, it's going to become like histrionic or something. And it's just like, I'm going to let someone else do this. Yeah. I don't know.
There was a lot of that, though. That's the thing that's wild about this is there were so many people, like right down, I thought it was in the beginning of this. I don't know if anyone else was like, right down to the hospital staff. And I'm like, how are they talking with like HIPAA and privacy laws? I'm like, oh, probably because this has already gone to court. So this was in court. And so they can now talk about it because it was already public.
But they couldn't talk about it at the time.
They couldn't. And they're all just watching and they're all sitting there. And then when that woman, that one wife who's like the undercover spy for the best friend of Wade, and she calls and they're just like, there is something, but we cannot say. It's like, the brown bird flies upside down at midnight. Wink, wink, nod, nod. But nobody can say.
Right. It was pretty wild. I mean, the thing that really struck me about this is what I'm seeing more sort of in pop culture, and maybe it's just because Netflix and other networks are sort of fishing in new waters for documentaries, is there's this desperation to, with these, whatever this kind of psychology is. And you know what? I don't blame a psychologist for not being on this because you can't diagnose somebody you haven't met, right? That's a big problem.
Well,
but there is, like, they can talk about past people that
can
they
we
have.
Come back to that?
Yeah, absolutely. But there is this like weird thing around this pathology, which is like, I have a compulsion and an impulse to be middle class, to look normal, to have the things that other people have. It's not like they have an impulse and a compulsion to like live on a yacht in the Caribbean like the Tinder swindler dude. Like they just want to look and be like everybody else, and they clearly can't be. So they go through these hoops, and she literally, Toby, it seems to me, didn't fall in love with Wade. She's like, he seems normal. People think he's normal. How about him? Like the Wade factor was very strange to me. What do you think, Toby?
Yeah, you don't really get much of a sense of things because I feel like Wade is really spending this entire documentary trying to distance himself from Taylor and making it seem like he was never quite into it. And, at the end, he's like, I never told her I loved her. I'm like, all right, dude, whatever.
The whole point behind it all, I really don't know, but I guess she was hoping one day I'd finally tell her, that I loved her, but I never did.
Everybody else who talks about it was like, you were always defending her, you were like, anytime something would come up, you're like, oh, Taylor would be like, oh, this is my mom hired these people to do this, or my mom did this, or my mom did that. And Wade's like repeating the same thing to his mom and like his friends, I guess. So again, it's like, well, did you really? I mean, it seems like you were kind of in her corner.
Well, she was paying the bills or not.
Like, it's hard to really kind of figure out what her motivations were because they just don't look into it at all. But I mean, I think what you were saying makes sense in that she's like, oh, here's a guy who seems like in our community to have decently high stakes. He's a rodeo guy and, he's got a respected family and stuff. And he lives close to me, but not so close that he's going to know my friends or that I had a hysterectomy. So I guess I'll glom on to him. The whole thing is kind of weird. I mean, it's just not explained. If there was something there, it's not explained, and it kind of leaves you to like kind of speculate about what's the nature of the whole thing. And then Wade is clearly sort of obfuscating the whole time. I guess you can't really blame him, but he's trying to reclaim his life since somebody wants to be around him because they think he enabled Taylor to like go down this freaking rabbit hole that ended up with this horrible murder.
Right. I don't want people to see me as dumb as I am kind of situation.
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing that both Laura and Rebecca were talking about is like, I don't think that she actually had friends. I don't think she had the kind of friends that like you guys have, that if you were pulling this shit and telling everybody, oh yeah, now I'm pregnant after,
at 53.
Yeah.
Now I'm pregnant
but
now that I've been on hormone replacement therapy. I'll be like, what?
Wow.
That someone would say, what the fuck are you doing? Or have actual like deep concern, because it sounded like the people that they talked to that knew that like that was not right, just considered it her being shady, right? Did not identify it at all as a potential mental illness, right? It's just more like, yeah, she's a bad person. Now, looking back and you find out like she's a fucking murderer too, it can be hard to sort of drum up support for that person that was in your life that is on death row now.
Brutal murderer.
Yes.
Yeah.
An intimate, brutal murderer.
With her bare
hands. It's Manson stuff. I mean, it's exactly Charles Manson stuff.
Yeah. But again, to the idea of that while you're going to a gender reveal party that in your heart, for a fact is fucking bullshit, and you just go and eat the cake.
Yeah.
Cake is good.
Cake is good.
Everyone loves a sheet cake.
Yeah, you're just like, well, let's see if it's pink inside. Fantastic.
Right.
Perfect, so...
Maybe they were enjoying watching the train wreck as well,
Well, could you ever imagine, though, that somebody would go to that level? No. I mean, that's the thing is you're watching this and you're like, yeah, she's a nut, but, I can't.
I didn't listen to the Unborn podcast.
But were they going for him, or were they going to watch what would happen? Like, we don't really get sort of what's driving any of these people in this, right, Laura?
Yeah, no, I think I honestly, this was like we talked about in the beginning, like you just telling the story of this case is wild because of everything that happened. It's like, oh my God, now this is happening, that's happening. But I think, given the fact that some time has passed, given the fact that she's gone to trial, I was like, what's the psychology of Taylor? Like, what is the little bit, like, let's peel off a layer here and figure out what the hell is going on with her. Like, where is the psychological analysis? Is she
Didn't it come up at court? Didn't they hire, it must have hired an expert, right?
So that's the thing is, because I'm like, is she a con artist? Is she a pathological liar? Is she just extremely mentally ill? Well, guess what? She was evaluated by multiple people. And so that's the part I'm like, I feel like that could have been included in there.
What did they say, Laura? What did they say?
This is what's interesting. This is what they said. All of them stopped short of diagnosing a major mental illness. And one testified that she displayed traits associated with multiple personality disorders, but didn't meet the full criteria for borderline personality, narcissistic personality, antisocial personality. Another one said he found no evidence of a major mental illness, but concluded she exhibited significant psychopathic traits, including pathological lying, manipulation, and lack of empathy.
Wow.
And then additional testimony, neurologist and psychologist testimony described abnormalities in her brain structure. So her frontal and temporal lobes, they could have affected her judgment and impulse control, but it didn't rise to the level of a psychiatric diagnosis. So I think what's interesting about this case that I wish is that nobody could agree on what the heck was going on with her. And I think the pregnancy faking is in itself like what's going on here. She's wearing the fake belly. She's got the fake records. She's having the gender reveal. She's, posting it on Facebook. But then it doesn't really explain anything deeper in this documentary, at least, about like what could have created this in her background. Like to see somebody go to this level, you're like, what the hell is going on?
Was she dropped as a baby?
Yeah, like what the hell happened in this person's background to lead them? Like she's obviously got this sort of sense of entitlement that goes along with the lack of empathy, the manipulation, the deceit, but nobody can really explain at her trial what was happening. And I think that in itself is a very interesting thing.
And they never said that. I would have loved to have known that in the documentary.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting. Toby, you made all kinds of faces when Laura was talking about the testimony at trial and the mental health evaluations. What were you thinking about there?
Well, I mean, it's the weird thing, I guess, about psychology, not that I'm an expert, but that it's kind of an art in that, it's not like you can do a blood test and then you're like, oh, this guy's schizophrenic or whatever. It's like you're taking a look at behaviors and looking at a checklist and seeing, how do they conform to the description for this malady or not. And the fact that they're like, she like seems like she has parts of like schizophrenia and multiple personality disorder and borderline personality and all these things. It's like, well, that in itself like seems like kind of a problem, even if she doesn't like actually hit like 8 of 13, factors or whatever. Yeah. But the fact that she's like hitting a bunch on all these different things, that in and of itself, even though maybe you can't put a name to it, you'd be like, well, she's seriously troubled. Like it seems like a weird thing to walk away and be like, well, she seems basically fine. She's kind of a freak, but it just seems like strange testimony to me. And then I think, just from watching this, and again, some documentarians making it, they've got their agenda. All these people are talking about all this stuff, but she doesn't seem like a mentally well person. Yeah. And then I think about Texas and about how there's probably pressure on these psychologists who are interacting with the justice system not to give people outs for mental illness.
Oh,
And
that's interesting.
That may be a stereotype, but given the number of people who are on death row in Texas and all this,
all the prosecutors from Texas listening to this, Toby's very sorry. He's not talking about you.
Yeah, allegedly. I should say allegedly. It seems a little off to me. But
the frontal lobe thing resonates with me because that's like it sounds like a greater example of like what kids with ADHD have and adults with ADHD. Like I have an underdeveloped frontal lobe. When I was a kid, I just wouldn't do my homework ever, and I would think it would be fine, and of course it wasn't. And I was in college. I ended up dropping out because I wasn't going to class. And it's like these are things with an expiration date. You can't just not go to class and expect to.
But did you cut the baby out of somebody's?
No, but I'm saying that idea of like not foreseeing consequences, like 2 weeks from now, I relate to. We have a son who was like that when he was little. Like I think there's something I think with the frontal lobe that when you said that, I was like, I could see that, but a much more extreme
But not at the
version.
clinical level, which is what we see here.
But Kevin, there is somebody missing largely from this documentary.
Yeah, the victim.
Yeah.
Reagan Hancock. And the fact that like we haven't even touched on it in our discussion of it kind of shows to me like how little a part of the actual story she was. I mean, somewhat invisible. And it's funny because in a way it actually made the reveal more surprising to me. Like all of a sudden we're like, we're so deep into this whole pregnancy fraud procedural part of it that all of a sudden we're just like, oh my goodness, it just came, oh my God, Reagan, wait a minute, that's probably who the mother was, right? And it makes for a big reveal in an Agatha Christie novel, but as far as like the way she performed,
Agatha Christie novels with cutting babies out of the stomach.
Okay, maybe Miss Marple wouldn't do that one, but like in this documentary, I mean, it's like it's so violent and she's just almost not there at all. Right. Again, it's not like they didn't have somebody who could talk about her. I think that the mother was there.
They talked about her a little.
Yeah.
And the sister.
But I feel like she wasn't a presence in the storytelling. Right. You feel sorry for her and her family because she was a murder victim. But do they move beyond that as far as like raising like who she is and sort of bringing her essence into it? I don't think they did.
I'm okay with that, honestly.
She was kind of an afterthought because the story itself of Taylor was so off the rails that and not that her life is not valuable, but it's like this focus was this insane lie.
Right. Yeah. And horrible consequence. But sometimes they stuff all that stuff into a documentary like this, and those are the parts that are like, they feel obligatory. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it's like I'm not trying to be insensitive. It's just it's tighter and it really focuses on the main. I understand why they didn't linger on that. And having her mother in it was very.
Maybe I was just so inveigled by the pregnancy scam thing that I didn't realize when they were laying out stuff about Reagan that
she was a victim.
That she was connected to it in a larger way, or like she's another scam victim of something like that. I did not foresee her being the murder victim, and perhaps I should have. But
I did.
Okay.
As soon as they said that Reagan got pregnant at 17 and her whole life was wanting to be a mother, I was like,
she lit up a room. Yeah.
I was like, here we go.
That's the anvil right there.
Something bad is going to happen.
What's up, sports fans? I'm Rachel Demita, here to tell you about my show, Courtside Club. If you love hoops and hot takes, then you're in the right place. Want to hear about Caitlin Clark's unstoppable rise in the WNBA, how stars like Wemby and Luka Doncic are dominating the NBA? Or maybe you just want the tea on this week's most viral sports moments. Don't worry, we'll keep you updated on all of it. So grab your popcorn and come hang with us. Courtside. You can listen to Courtside Club wherever you get your podcasts. Ooh and ah.
So, Kevin, who's the sponsor of this fine podcast?
Oh, we're sponsored by Quince.
Shut up.
Yeah, summer is the perfect time to rethink the clothes that you've been reaching for every day. You take all those clothes that you bought from Quince in the winter, all those nice sweaters, you put them to one side of the closet or in a different drawer, and you bring out all of last year's linens, get the new ones to add to it.
Yeah.
Rebecca, what have you recently purchased from Quince?
You know I love a linen shirt.
Yes.
And I have a couple of Quince linen shirts, the European linen. I love the dark blue with the white stripes is my favorite one. I have a white one. I've got a pink one. I've got a solid blue one. They are the most versatile, cute shirts. I wear it over a bathing suit. I wear it out to dinner. We were on vacation. Remember, I wore a linen shirt every day.
Yes. And in fact, for that vacation, you purchased me 2 pairs of swimming trunks.
Yes.
Bathing suit, whatever you call it.
Yes.
And I'll say that, ladies, that if you purchase one for your man, be sure to
get the short one.
Get the short one.
It's
Tell
cute.
them you're not an 80s surfer.
No.
You don't need it down to your knees. Look great, look elevated, and save money. And by the way, Quince is not just about clothing. It's your destination for elevated essentials across the home, kitchen, bedding, and beyond.
Elevate your summer wardrobe. Go to quince.com/crime for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada, too.
Bonjour, hi.
That's QUINCE.com/crime for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/crime.
Okay, imagine this. A honeybee is out here doing her thing in an orchard, lands on a mystery apple blossom, then carries that pollen over to a Honeycrisp tree. Fast forward a few months, and no exaggeration, something amazing is born. The sugar bee apple. Packed with notes of honey, caramel, and molasses, plus an extra crisp crunch, sugar bee apples are perfect for snacking, baking, and everything in between. Download our new free recipe book and find a store near you at hellosugarbee.com. Sugar bee apples, naturally sweet, from bee to you.
Why have we asked our contractor we found on Angie.com to be our kids' legal guardian? Because he took such good care when redoing our basement that we knew we could trust him to care for our kids.
We only met a month ago. Angie, the one you trust to find the ones you trust. Find pros for all your home projects at Angie.com.
All right, let's do what we do. Let's let our listeners know. Should they check out the documentary Maternal Instinct? Very popular on Netflix. Laura Bricker, thumbs up or thumbs down for Maternal Instinct?
Yeah, I'm going to go mild thumbs up on this. I don't think in terms of how the documentary was told, it's necessarily like groundbreaking, but this is a crazy story. This is a story that's one of those that just when you think you've heard it all, something else happens and it snowballs and you're like, this is like watching a slow train crash that I can't turn away from, even though I feel kind of dirty for watching this because it feels really voyeuristic. At the same time, it's just Texas. And I think, you something about Texas, the crimes in Texas, and it's a certain type of crime. And I think it's basically just a straightforward retelling of this case. I would have liked to see a little more psychology of the perpetrator at the center of this case, because I think to me that was one of the more interesting parts when you see the nature of this crime. I can't help but wonder what was going on, and I would have liked more context on that. But overall, this is something a lot of my friends are talking about. It's just one of those stories you're like, I can't believe this actually happened.
Toby Ball, thumbs up or thumbs down for Maternal Instinct?
Yeah, so this is very formulaic, I think. I mean, I kind of feel like we've seen a bunch of things that have sort of adhered to this exact formula. I mean, it even starts with like the cop cam footage, but it's competently done. It tells a story. It's not confusing. It has a lot of talking heads. And the story itself is pretty wild. I think Laura kind of touched on it, which is what's wild about the story is what this woman is trying to do, or a bunch of things she's trying to do. And you're not given any insight into her at all. She is just sort of the product of these, they're not even really plans, but these kind of actions that she takes. And they're so weird. And you're kind of, at least I was left just like, what was she thinking? And that seems to have zero interest for the documentary makers. It does feel like you could take like a Wikipedia entry, dump it into some AI machine and have it spit out a documentary exactly like this. So I guess I'm a thumb sideways in that, again, it's competently made. The story, it's not boring. And there's certainly stuff to think about when it's over. But I mean, it's made in a very vanilla fashion, and there's remarkably little insight into something as strange as this. I get the feeling in like 5 months, if somebody's like, oh, did you see this? I'll be like, fuck, what was that about again? And they'll have to like explain it to me and be like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that. So anyway, thumb sideways.
Kevin Flynn.
Yeah, I think I'm going thumb sideways too. I mean, the crime is so brutal. It is intriguing and worth examining. But does this work as a documentary? Does this work as a documentary? I don't know. It has a couple of fantastic narrative moments. I had a couple of oh shit moments in this, and it's all based on the way that they laid the cards out, and when they did that. But it also at the same time was rather incurious about some of the more intriguing aspects of this perpetrator, all the mental issues right here. We prefer it when these documentaries show and they don't tell, but sometimes the showing just isn't enough to provide enough context for getting what's happening here. And when there are just so many other questions that ought to be raised about the people involved and what happened. So maybe it's because the interviews that they did weren't very deep or introspective. We didn't get what we normally get from that kind of access. But I think this one would have actually benefited from more telling as opposed to just showing. So it's not horrible. I mean, I was compelled by it. I want to say my attention was held. I don't want to say I enjoyed it. But I got to give it credit for a couple of things that these filmmakers did that I thought were, was very effective. But overall, is it great? No. So, I mean, maybe I'd say mild thumbs up if I, had a couple of whiskeys in me and I was feeling sort of birthday generous. But I think that I'm comfortable going thumb sideways.
Yeah, I'm thumbs up. I'm not prevaricating. I've decided.
Oh, okay.
After a few days that I just think it deserves a thumbs up because I enjoyed watching it. You and I were riveted. I was not looking at my second screen. If it had been 15 minutes longer, I would have stuck around. I've been talking about it with people afterward as a conversation starter. It's like a good one. I've been thinking about it. Like, what the hell? Not just with the main person, but with a lot of the people in it.
All right, I'm the mildest thumbs up.
Okay,
I'm changing, but go ahead. Yeah.
I actually think, except for the lack of psychological stuff that Laura provides in the longer portion of our review, aside from that absence, I actually think this was made with a remarkable amount of restraint. I really do. Like I don't know who these filmmakers are. I don't work for Netflix anymore, so I didn't get the chance to interview them or whatever, but I assume they're either British or they're coastal, right? And this takes place in the middle of the heart of a certain slice of America. And that is not acknowledged in any way. And I think that shows a lot of restraint. And I think that the interviews are very tasteful, and the story and having there are certain sources in this that to me give it restraint and it could have been horrible. I guess this could have been so bad. But I liked it, so I'm giving it a thumbs up, I guess is what I'm saying here.
That's going to be something on the marquee, right? They're like, oh, this could have been horrible.
Exactly. Yeah. Could have been so bad. Now it's time for my favorite part of the podcast, a little something I like to call the Crime of the Week. The Ferris wheel wasn't the only thing gyrating at an English music festival. Police say a couple was spotted having sex on the ride in front of thousands of people. The crowd at the Download Festival in Leicestershire was waiting for Guns N' Roses to take the stage when someone noticed the couple getting it on as the glass-enclosed pod made its first pass. Onlookers first thought it was just a man holding a woman from behind. The next time around, they saw her pants were off while he was thrusting from behind. On another rotation, she was seen on her knees, giving him the what for. The incident was captured on dozens of cameras and shared on social media. Despite the number of images they received, police have not been able to identify the randy couple. Public sex is not illegal in Britain, just so long as it isn't in a public bathroom. But
that's an odd cutout, right?
Yeah, but the pair could face charges of indecent exposure. And just like sex, Ferris wheels don't go on forever. It's not known whether either of them said, "Stop the ride, I want to get off." So panel,
want to get off.
What other trouble will this amorous couple get into at the festival? Laura Bricker, what do you think?
Well, I think they're going to show up at the first aid tent with some Ferris wheel related road rash or something.
Oh,
and
all right.
That's going to tip everybody off as to who they were.
What do you think, Toby? What other trouble will this amorous couple get into at the festival?
I don't know if Jimmy Buffett is playing that festival, but Laura's talked about that glass that was
boobs on glass.
Yeah, the boobs on glass thing. It's a possibility.
And I don't think he's playing at that festival for a
You don't think he is?
reason. Yeah, I don't think he is. What about you, Kevin? What do you think is going to happen to this amorous couple next? What are they going to get into?
Well, I think it's his birthday, so they're going to go into the Tunnel of Love,
All right.
which is the...
Tunnel of Love. The vagina. You're talking about her vagina.
No, it's his birthday. So
you're talking about the back door.
The back door, yeah.
Oh, you're talking about butt stuff. Just to be
talking
clear.
about butt stuff.
All right. Laura Bricker, if folks
The
want to reach
Tunnel
out
of
to
Love.
you and find out what you think the Tunnel of Love means, how can they find you on social media?
You can find me at Laura Bricker on Instagram and Blue Sky.
What about you, Toby? How can you be found online?
At TobyBall603 on Instagram.
What about you, Kevin?
I'm at Kevin P. Flynn.
And if you want to follow me on Instagram or X, you can find me at Reb Lavoie. Follow the show everywhere, including Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Blue Sky, TikTok, etc. at Crime Writers On. But mostly you should join our Facebook discussion group. It's really rad. Get episodes early and ad-free and everything else we make at patreon.com/Partners in Crime Media. Our theme song was composed and performed by Ty Gibbons. The executive producer of this show is Kevin, and it's also edited by Kevin. This show was recorded in the Caitlin Rogers Project Studio, also known as Studio C, The Closet, in our New Hampshire basement, where we also take elaborate glamour photos of ourselves in front of horses all the time. On behalf of all the crime writers, thanks so much for listening. We'll catch you later. Then, as our purported due date arrived, miles away, police made a gruesome discovery. Clip 3.
Yeah, again, but not so happy. It's a little more dire.
A gruesome discovery. A little surprise.
Partners in Crime Media.
Hey everyone, it's me, Morgan Stewart, and I have a new podcast called The Morgan Stewart Show. Join me each week as I talk about pop culture, fashion, my personal life, and just a warning, I'm going to be giving my opinion on everything. I'll also have some really fun guests to join in on the fun. The Morgan Stewart Show is out now. Listen and follow wherever you get your podcasts or watch full video on YouTube.